I'm Dixie Jarko. This is Tom Cannon.
Hello.
And Ruth Percey. And we're here to talk about the Lakefly Writers Conference.
Ruth is the director of the Lakefly Conference, and if you go to Lakefly Conference, you're most likely to see Dixie and I as well. We help plan the committee. We'll be there. We'd like to see you, by the way.
Yes.
It's a very inexpensive conference as these things go. Ruth, why don't you tell us about that this year?
Sure. The Lakefly Writers Conference is the second weekend in May. It started in 2011, and it's held at the Oshkosh Convention Center in downtown Oshkosh. The event is sponsored by the Oshkosh Public Library and the Friends of the Oshkosh Public Library. In addition, we have co-sponsors including the Wisconsin Writers Association and the Oshkosh Area Writers Club. What else would you like to know?
How much is it?
It's a very affordable conference. I can almost say without threat of getting sued, you're not going to find a more affordable writing conference in the state of Wisconsin. Always, if you register early, it's $45. Normally, early registration ends the month of at the end of March, and then it's only $60 after that. That does include a day and a half of events, as well as a really nice luncheon on Saturday.
What's included in that $45 right now?
Well, usually the events begin on Friday afternoon and go through till the end of Saturday. So you would have probably a choice of between the 2 days, 6 or 7 breakout sessions to choose from, as well as 1 or 2 general assemblies or keynote speakers.
And lunch on?
And lunch on Saturday, which is it's a nice lunch. It's a little bit formal, but it is a nice lunch with the authors and the speakers that are there at the event. So, in addition, on Friday night there is the part of the Lakefly Conference also sponsors a writing contest, actually 4 writing contests. Those winners are announced the Friday evening of the conference at the Oshkosh Public Library.
It's at a beautiful reception in the old part. So if you haven't seen the old part, you need to come.
Usually the library's front doors are open so people can come in the old entrance, which normally is closed because it's not handicap accessible. But so we'll have a nice ceremony there. The winners will get their award, and there's snacks there, and it's a lovely time. It's a really nice night.
Okay. And so we're speaking with you today to hear about the Lakefly Conference and kind of to show people how, why you should go to a conference, how it's important. Before we get to that, why don't you tell us how do you register and where you would go to find information if you wanted to enter the conference?
Great. Sure. The Lakefly has their own website. It's lakeflywriters.org. On that website, you'll find several things, one of which will be a preliminary schedule of events, registration information, hotel information if anyone wanted to stay overnight on Friday, which many people do. And then there also is a page for the contest. The contests are funded by the Friends of the Oshkosh Public Library, for which we are very grateful for. There's usually 4 contest categories. They do change a little bit, but there's usually 4. There are no entry fee and cash prizes. And the only real condition is that you have to be able to attend the awards ceremony in order to...
So who typically attends? We haven't talked about tracks at all yet.
Sure, we try to schedule 3 different tracks for the event. One for beginning writers, and then one for mid-level writers, and then there's usually a category of miscellaneous stuff, memoir writing, maybe poetry, things like that. So for beginning writers, we try to offer things on technique, how to set a scene, how to create really good characters. Those kinds of things to actually help you improve your writing. For the mid-level writers, we might find more of an emphasis for those people on how do I've got my novel done, how do I pitch it to somebody, how do I get it published, how do I promote myself, how do I do a book talk, get a blog, start a Facebook page. So you might find things of interest for somebody who's like kind of done with a book or has some publishing under their belt. And then, like I said, the third category is maybe for just kind of the things that really don't fit well in the other two, but are still really important, like nonfiction writing, technical writing, memoir writing, poetry.
Maybe true crime. I know you have.
Some of that stuff. Maybe something on the legal aspect that any writer would maybe want to know about. Like a common question is if I publish it on my blog, does that consider it to be published? Can I now submit it someplace else, or can't I? So there are some things that really are of interest to all writers, no matter what level of writer they are. But we do try to offer something for, like I said, 3 different tracks. So there's always should be, and they're not competing. I would never put like 2 detective speakers talking at the same time. So if you wanted to follow, for somebody, it'd be possible for them to just follow a single track, and they'd be very happy for the day.
But you also try to make sure that all genres are accounted for, that there's something in there for the fantasy writer, the romance novelist,
Sure,
short story.
we do try. Well, we also try to have an emphasis on something particular. I try to offer, or we try to offer, there is a committee that helps me. But we try to offer at least 2 things on a particular topic. So if I was a technical writer, maybe there'd be something on technical writing, but I would expect that there'd be something else on that schedule that would also entice me to come, so it's not just like the one thing that I'm interested in.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the contest? Because just from meeting some of the contest winners, I mean, they're kind of a cool group of people. They're interesting, eclectic,
Yeah.
and I think it's really helped some of them. One of the person we interviewed here, Dan, I think it really helped give him something on his resume, and it forced him to write and do something very well.
And now he has a contract.
Actually, you have 2 guests on your show that won, because I believe Billy Joe Dearson
Right.
also won a contest.
Dan
as well.
Anderson and Billy Joe Dearson.
Yeah.
For 2016, what are the categories?
Short story, flash fiction, poetry, and a new one this year is an essay contest for people that are 17 and under. And most of the time, like the short story and the flash fiction, I think, have a theme. So there'll be a theme to kind of narrow
It's
down.
Wisconsin choices.
Yeah.
So we kind of left it vague, so
Yeah.
you can interpret it how you will.
I have to say that I'm not part of the judging. They do blind judging. The judges are not members of the Writers Club or really associated with the conference. And I think most of them are not even writers, although they're very good readers. They love to read. They read voraciously. But so the contest part, I don't really have much to do, and I've like a couple people have emailed me like Wisconsin Choices, like what does that mean?
Yeah. I've heard that too.
And it's whatever you want it to mean, I guess.
Yeah.
If you were going to enter, by what date do you have to have that
The
in?
deadline this year is February 27th, and then usually what we do is we will notify the winners by a certain date, and then when all the winners have been notified and we're sure that they can attend the awards ceremony on that Friday evening, then the thing kind of goes out to let the other people know, if you haven't been notified yet, I'm sorry, but you're not a winner. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try that again. We have people who enter every year, which is wonderful. And one woman, I think, did it the first 2 years, and then the 3rd year she did win. She won first place that year. So don't give up. I will say, because they are free and there's cash prizes, there's a lot of competition, and we do get a lot of entries.
But you have to live in Wisconsin or attend the conference.
Yeah,
That's
you have
one
to
of
live
them.
in Wisconsin, go to school in Wisconsin, or attend the conference.
And attend?
Or.
Or. And certainly if you live in Wisconsin but you can't make the award ceremony, we'll have to go to the next person who placed.
Okay, so free contest with cash prizes, 2-day event with different tracks that'll appeal
Yeah.
to anybody in any
We have
level.
raffles,
Right.
fun raffles.
Yes.
But that's not all. Can you talk to us a little bit about the WWA's participation in
Sure.
the conference?
WWA has been, I think they partnered with us for 3 out of the 4 years now. What they have is, it's actually kind of 2
What
parts.
is the WWA?
Wisconsin Writers Association.
Okay.
They're a really good organization. I recommend joining them as well.
Statewide, they've been
It's a
around
yeah.
since forever.
It's been at least 60 years that they've been around. And they're a good organization. They have a conference in the fall, and they're just a good organization. What their partnership with us is going to entail is they will have it's two parts. One part will be where an author can come and rent a table and sell their books for the day. This would be on Saturday. And then the other part is more of a bookstore type setting where an author can bring 10 copies of their book. Somebody else sells it for them for a small fee. And that way you can be selling your book. I think you do have to come back sometime in the day to be available for an autograph session. But you can attend the rest of the conference then, and you're not stuck at a table all day, just talking to people or not being able to take advantage of the other things that the conference has to offer. In addition to having authors, they also will have people with that are selling services such as proofreading, publishing, web design, promotions. The back half of the writing process is
It's
getting
kind of a full service.
yeah. Full service is a great word for it.
Yeah.
And you can contact the Wisconsin Writers Association if you would like to get a table there. They have a website, which I believe is www.writers.org. I'm not positive. You guys will go ahead and correct me later. And then all the information is available on their website. They've been a wonderful partner. They're really easy to work with. And there's been very complimentary people who have participated in their book expo, whatever you want to call it, in the past have been really pleased. I need to mention also that while that is part of the conference, it is in a separate room and it is free and open to the public. So if you didn't want to attend the conference, but you want to go and see who these authors are, most of them are statewide authors. If you wanted to just check out what was there, you could come in and there's no charge for that at all. And it might be maybe you've got a friend or a neighbor or relative who's going to be there selling a book. You can come and stop and talk to them and support them for no charge.
So you haven't said, where is this conference located?
The conference is at the Oshkosh Convention Center in downtown Oshkosh.
Beautiful. It's right near the library.
It's near the library, it's near the lake, it's easy access to the hotel, which has been recently renovated. So
Along with the convention center, which is
yeah.
just beautiful.
Yeah, and they have every time we go there, they've made improvements to their rooms, whether it's adding ceiling projectors or something. It is a really nice facility, and we're very lucky to have it.
So will you be having pitches this year again?
Yes, this year we're going to have 2 people that will be taking pictures, and possibly as many as 4. As we're taping this, it's still early in the planning process, but there is a woman coming from, it's Roots, Reuts, Publishing in Milwaukee, and I apologize if I'm slaughtering that. Her name is Ashley. They do YA.
What's NA?
I was hoping you would know.
New adult?
Yeah.
It's 18 through 21 through 25 age, which is a new genre.
Yeah, so they print 12 to 24 titles a year. And so she'll be there on Saturday taking pictures. Her name is Ashley. And then another gentleman, Philip Martin, is representing Creek Hollow Press.
Oh.
He has his hands in a lot of different things, but that I believe is who he'll be representing. And he's looking for pretty much anything. He would really like some good fantasy, but he's telling me that's really hard to find. But he's open to even nonfiction. So anything, they mainly do adult fiction and nonfiction, but he's pretty much open to anything.
Now I have to tell you, my name's Dixie Jericho, and I write under Daisy Jericho, and I met my agent at a Lakefly Literary Writers Conference. And I have 2 books published through her, so there's definitely opportunity for success if you want to go give a pitch or just get critiqued on how your pitch is. These people are very accessible, they're very nice. Give it a shot.
And this year, the pictures will be on Saturday. This year we actually have a program on Friday on how to give a successful pitch. So I don't want to set anybody up for failure. We're going to try and give you the tools you need on Friday so that you can go in there on Saturday and just like blow their socks off and hopefully get a book deal.
Awesome.
Yeah, so,
I'll be there.
well, and that's one of the advantages of going to a conference, is to network, meet
Yeah.
people, and if you get a chance to do those pitches, even if it doesn't lead to a book deal, there's nothing like actual experience of talking to
Yeah.
an agent, a publisher, and saying the words to try to sell your book. It's just a
Now,
great
is there
practice.
an additional cost for this? Because generally there's a $10 or $20 cost when you're going to pitch to an agent.
There's no additional cost. It's part of your $45 or your $60
Wow,
fee
that is awesome.
when you register.
Because I have paid to give these practice pitches at other conferences, and nothing happened.
We feel really strongly that everyone has a story to tell, and we want to do our best to give people the environment and the support and the connections and the tools that they need to get that story told. It is now easier than ever with all these changes in the publishing industry. It is now easier than ever to get a book published or an anthology or whatever. Maybe you just want to try to get a column in your local newspaper, whatever it is.
Or even some of the people in our writing group are writing their memoirs, their life stories, just for their families. But they
Yes.
want a polished effort when it comes out.
Yeah, and it's so
And we can
easy,
help you get
and it's
there.
easy now. It used to be if you self-published, it was really frowned upon. It had a reputation of being poor quality work. That's just not the case anymore. It just isn't. And now that it's more likely that there's an opportunity for you to get your stuff published, we want to be able to open those doors for you, for that to happen for you at a really affordable price. Some of these other conferences, like I won't mention, and that they're great conferences.
I've paid $200. I
Yeah,
paid.
plus a hotel and everything. You can easily spend $500 on a good conference. And I think that the quality of ours is just as good. And people have told me that. I'm not just saying that. And in fact, some of the speakers that we've gotten, or many of them, also do these other conferences. But
People say this conference is a very friendly conference. It's probably the most friendly conference they've ever been at.
well, we do try to do some unique things to make it a memorable experience. That's what we're striving for, is that it's a positive experience that you are there for, and that when you leave you are inspired, and hopefully it'll last for the whole year. But even if that feeling just lasts until you get home and get your first draft done, or you get some letters out, some career letters out, I'm okay with that. But the idea is that this isn't just for people that are really established or that they want to make a living at this, because we all know you can be a really good writer and you are still going to have a daytime job.
So, yeah, I think that, we've really tried to put on a conference that we would like to go to. We'd love to go to,
Absolutely.
focus on quality, focus
Good speakers.
good speakers, and in return, I have to say that the people that have attended our conference are also just friendly,
Yeah.
interesting, upbeat. We enjoy when they come through the door and
Yeah.
being able
We
to
have a
say
lot
hi
of
to them.
returning lake flies.
That is true. I think, actually, here's a couple little tidbits. I think last year 5% of our attendees were from out of state. The very first person who registered this year lives in Indiana. So we're getting a reputation outside of Wisconsin. For those that don't know, our total attendance is about 120 people. The speakers are talking amongst themselves. We're getting a good reputation among the speakers, that we're well organized and we're fun and we know what we're doing.
So do you want to talk about the speaker, the Lincoln book lady?
No, for 2016, and we're not sure when this will air, but for 2016, our keynote speaker is going to be Elizabeth Keller Pentecost. And Elizabeth used to live here in Wisconsin, from Milwaukee. Her aunt was, she was a nun, and she worked at a facility that took care of the Kennedy's daughter, Rosemary. For those that don't know it, the Kennedys had a daughter whom I think when she was in her early 20s. It's a really fascinating story. I don't want to give too much away, but the story of her birth is just very weird. And because of a delayed birth, she appeared to have some problems.
Developmental difficulty.
Yeah. So but I think it was in her early 20s, her parents, actually her father, her mother didn't know, but her father sent her to a facility here in Wisconsin where she had a lobotomy and then was institutionalized for the rest of her life. When you're Kennedy, you get different care than your other patients at this institution, and Elizabeth's aunt was her caretaker. And she spent a lot of time with the Kennedy daughter, both before it became known that she was even at this institution, but at some point, I want to say it was after her father passed away, that the mother told some of the kids, if you didn't know, we do have another child. Some of them didn't know.
It was different back then.
Yeah, some of
Wow.
them didn't know that they had a sister.
Yeah.
So the family did reunite, and the aunt would would accompany Rosemary to functions on Cape Cod and other places, with the Shrivers and other family members. And in fact, one of the Shrivers gave her a really good book review, said her book was really good.
So it's kind of her story.
So
her
it's
aunt's
her story. It's her aunt's story. It's told through the eyes of her aunt, through the aunt's journal, as well as some other personal correspondence that she had.
Very cool.
Well, there
It's
are-
like a national bestseller, isn't
It
it?
is. She was featured in People magazine, and while there are other Kennedy books on the market, there is no book that, has this level of detail and intimacy as the one that Elizabeth has written. So we're really
Wow.
excited to have her. In addition to being at the conference, she'll be at the conference on May 13th and May 14th. On May 16th, on that Monday, she's going to do a free program and book signing here at the library Monday night, which I think would make that the 16th. Yeah, so that will be a free program open to the public for the community of Oshkosh and elsewhere to come and hear her speak. And if you wanted to get a copy of your book autographed, she will do that as well.
Pretty cool. That's high-level speakers.
Each year we do try to have a big keynote speaker. Some people, unless you're writing and you're an avid reader, you may not recognize their names. But we try to get people mainly who are from Wisconsin, but not always. But there are usually at least 4 or 5 speakers on the schedule that are nationally known.
And maybe just well-known in Wisconsin. Each year
Yeah.
we had a poet laureate. Right?
Yeah. Last year it was Michael Perry was the keynote speaker. He was awesome as always. I'm a huge fan of Michael Perry. And then
We had Carl Strong one year.
yeah. Well, that's it. We try to do something fun each time.
He's a comedian. He was one of the Pips for Gladys Knight and the
Yeah,
Pips.
he's a professional comedian, and he sang, and he would open for Gladys Knight, as you
He was
said.
delightful.
He also wrote, I think, 2 songs for her, and now he's just a professional comedian. He's at a show on HBO and stuff. He lives in Oshkosh. I don't know why, but last year he did.
Oshkosh is awesome.
He opened for us. He did this great comedy routine just to get people awake and alert and thinking.
And then he taught a seminar on how to write comedy.
Yeah, he did. But his talk also was about how to get the most from a conference, how important it is to network and be open to new ideas, but also to have fun. So I have something similar planned this year, but I don't want to give it away.
Really?
But
It's early.
But
It's
each year we do try something just a little unusual.
One of my highlights was one of our speakers, D.B. Rouse.
Yeah.
He wrote a book called Busker,
Busker.
which means to
Busker.
go stand on the corner and sing music for change. And at one point during the award ceremony, he got out his guitar. I don't think he asked for money, but he did
Yeah.
break into song. And
He did in
that
his
was hilarious.
seminar too. He's great. He just off the cuff, it's
Yeah.
like rapping, but before rapping, he just starts singing.
Yeah, so it may not be there's very similar elements to every other conference you've been to. We try to always offer something a little different.
Now I would invite you to go to the lakeflywriters.org and see what the speakers, not all of them are booked yet for 2016, but see if it's somebody you know and somebody you would like to meet, because it's,
Yeah.
I've met some of my my favorite writers.
Larry Watson is.
Larry Watson.
You're a big
Watson.
fan of his too, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Susan Baggins, I think she has 4 or 5 books out. She's a
Yeah.
romance and Christian writer.
Our biggest hit last year, I think, well, and maybe I was wrong because you guys are both there, but we had a guy come from the police department and did a thing on crime scene investigation.
And how to write it right.
Yeah, how to write, yeah. So,
He had pictures. It was
Yeah,
not
so-
for the squeamish. He had pictures. He had details.
yeah, so there'll be
was
something similar
amazing.
to that again as well. We try to always have something for detective or mystery writers, murder mystery detective writers, and also something for YA writers and poetry. Those are the 3 things we always try to do. Those are kind of the most popular things.
In romance, right?
Yeah. Right now in the publishing industry, mystery detectives are like one of the #1 things. Of course, cookbooks are always, I don't know why, but cookbooks
Eternal hope.
They outsell the Bible. They outsell the Bible, but I think the mysteries and detectives are right behind that. So that is what a lot of people are writing. The other thing is there are some other conferences in the area that have discontinued. And so we try to be aware of what else is out there. And if something has discontinued, we might see that there would be a niche there now for people who used to attend that conference, might be looking for a place to go. So we'll try to see what we can do to draw those people to ours and offer them something.
Ruth, why should I come to the Lakefly Writers Conference?
Well, for the one thing, if you're interested in writing, you're not going to get a better deal for the price. Even at the full price of $60, you're just not for the quality of speakers that we have.
So Tom, why should we go to the Lakefly Writers Conference?
Because it's everything we've said, that it's a great time. We try to provide a great value where you learn something, where you get to network. And if you don't go to Lakefly, still go to a conference because, like Ruth said earlier, you're going to learn information on how to be a better writer, on how to get published, and at the very least, you're going to leave that day feeling inspired, wanting to go home.
That would be what I would say.
paper.
You go out of there like, give me the paper, the pen, the laptop. It just inspires you to either finish something or send something out. It's uplifting. It truly is. And for $45, you cannot beat, even $60. There's no conference at that price that's going to give you the value of this one.
And I have to say, we don't take ourselves too seriously. Our name tag for many years was a splatted lakefly. So we do try to have fun. I think that's important. And yeah, we hope to inspire, encourage, and just offer a supportive community. Writing is a very lonely business, and if you don't belong to a writers group, you can feel so isolated. And this really is an antidote to that. People will make a friendship and continue it throughout the year. You come back next year and you see the same people there.
People that know what you go through, and they,
Absolutely.
yeah, like-minded people.
Yeah.
And speaking of social, isolated, now if we were, if we went to a conference, we had a session, and we would probably often tell you that if you're going to be a writer, whether it's, go by yourself or with a publisher, you're still going to need a platform. And so we
That's
do
big.
have that. And so we invite you to connect with the Lakefly Writers
Sure.
Conference. We have a Facebook page.
We're on Facebook, Twitter, have a
Twitter's
website.
handle is,
Is Lakefly Lit, I
I
think.
think so too.
Um,
We're even on Google Plus, although nobody
No one else is.
knows. So if you have any comments or questions,
Check back often because things are going to change as we book
Yeah.
authors. It's going to
Yeah.
get exciting. Get your money in.
yeah, we already have, I can say it's 3 weeks. Registration has been open for 3 weeks, and usually no one ever registers until March. Usually registration opens up the first week in January. It's been about 3 weeks now that we're taping this near the end of January. I already have almost a dozen people that have registered. And again, like I said, the first one doesn't even live in Wisconsin, so that's terrific. Although last year I think we had about 5% of our attendance was from out of state. So
Nice. Well, thank you, Ruth.
I am
Ruth
so
Percey
glad that I was able to be
from the
here with you
Lakefly
guys
Writers
today.
Conference. We appreciate you coming by. Again, it's Lakefly.
LakeflyWriters.org.
Check back often.
Yeah.
And for Tom Cannon and Dixie Jericho, thank you very much for watching.
Thank
Hi.
you.
Thank you for watching. If you'd like to be on Author Showcase, please contact us on our Facebook page or at OshkoshAuthorShowcase@gmail.com. Otherwise, continue the conversation with Dixie and Tom via social media. Look for Dixie by searching for Daisy Jericho, and please check out her books, The Love Thief and Sparks Fly, on Amazon. You can find Tom Cannon on many types of social media, and please check out his book on Amazon, The Foul of Apathy. Our goal is to introduce local authors around Oshkosh and hear their stories. We want to thank the Oshkosh Public Library and the Friends of Oshkosh Public Library for supporting the creation of this show. If you are a writer and are looking for a community, we suggest the Oshkosh Area Writers Club and the Lakefly Writers Conference held each May.